I see money simply as a tool for freedom, right? Like working, you're kind of stacking up freedom because money is allowing you to have time freedom and freedom with other things in life.
The Ground Up Podcast, diving into the mindset of today's most successful real estate entrepreneurs to uncover the secrets to their success from the ground up.
Hello, and welcome to the Ground Up Podcast, where we get an inside look into the mindset of the most successful real estate entrepreneurs in today's market and learn the secrets to their success. On today's show, we have Harper Jones. Harper hails from Knoxville, Tennessee. He's an advocate for the infinite banking concept and uses his system to invest in real estate. He invests in storage facilities, mobile home parks, and industrial real estate. He also coaches people on infinite banking to make it easy for them to get started on their infinite banking journey or expand their existing system. Harper is an authorized IBC practitioner with the Nelson Nash Institute. Harper, welcome. Happy New Year. Thank you for being with us today.
I was excited, man. I was excited to do this with you and talk and through the holidays. I'm getting through some allergies or a little cold, and I'm like, this is going to be great. So thanks for having me. Looking forward to talking real estate, maybe some infinite banking, and I'll just let you lead the conversation and see if we can add any value, and maybe if I can connect with one of the listeners or someone gets a little bit of value out of it, then it's worth our time, right?
You got it, man. Yeah. Thanks again for being here. Super excited to talk to you. And let's kick it off by, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your business. What is infinite banking? How does it work? Give us some more info.
Yeah, sure. So I do two main things. I invest in real estate, and you'd read that off. So we have rentals, and we're more in the commercial field right now. I've been in real estate for, I think, a little over 8 years now. Started off wholesaling, flipping the paper to get some capital and whatnot. Did a couple of actual flips with properties, some light remodels and sales, and then started buying some rentals and sold that, and then worked into the commercial world where we have storage facilities, got like 8 of those with my brother and a different partner, an industrial building, a minority owner in some mobile home parks, and looking to always acquire, but past year kind of really stabilized our portfolio, and I put a lot more emphasis and time into my company Life with Leverage, which is coaching people on infinite banking, setting up their policies, building their system, and essentially infinite banking is a strategy I use myself with the businesses and real estate that I invest in, and I'm using infinite banking as a place to warehouse my capital, to warehouse my cash, and it's really an ideal savings vehicle to place your capital in one of these infinite banking style life insurance contracts, and then leverage against that to build more wealth with whatever your day-to-day is, right? Whether that's real estate or business or something of that nature.
Awesome. Yeah. The infinite banking is very popular these days and very powerful. And actually, I just started my first infinite banking policy with Harper. So, it's something that a lot of people are excited about. And I guess, is there anything else that you would want our listeners to know about as it relates to that and how they could use that for their own investing endeavors?
Yeah, for sure. So a couple examples of what I do or what some of my clients use the system for is they're going to have money flowing into their bank accounts, right? Their checking and savings accounts before they go re-employ it or redeploy it for investments. And so that could just be cash sitting around. That could be property taxes and insurance premiums that maybe have off to the side. And they might actually have the bank escrow that. But the thing is, that's not really doing anything for you. And dead cash isn't really doing anything for you either. So, hey, where can we sit that cash? What is the ideal place to sit that cash and capital before you deploy it, right? Because you have a difference in your savings that's more liquid, guaranteed, easy to access, and your investing, which is more put to work in a business, not as liquid, but has more multiple possibility or growth. And so you got to separate the two. So when you say, when I have cash coming in, where is it going to sit before I deploy it or spend it on taxes or whatever that might be? And the answer is, well, what type of characteristics or things are we going to look for where to store it? We'd want our savings to be liquid. We want it to be guaranteed. We want it to be able to be leveraged against or borrow against it if possible in a very safe and cheap and efficient manner where we can rely on our principal not to go down or be called on us, right? We would like it to be credit protected. We would love for it to grow tax free. And at the end of the day, we want the compounding to be uninterrupted by taxes or withdrawing the principal. So you say, well, what asset or vehicle is really going to be the ideal place? And you say money market, checks some of those, but not all the boxes. A brokerage account checks some, but not all the boxes, and it's more of an investment, more risk tied to it. A savings account checks some, but not all the boxes. Well, one vehicle that checks all those boxes is a life insurance contract with a mutual insurance company that's designed properly for cash accumulation that you're able to leverage against and borrow against. So now you're building up your own bank in essence, or this savings vehicle that you're able to leverage against, right? And use it as a down payment in real estate, finance a whole flip. Maybe I loan Mike some money for a project, right? And then he pays me back with some interest. So there's so many different ways you could use it. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds really powerful and very versatile. So Harper,
definitely.
Thank you for the information. We're going to get back to that. Let's dive into some of our questions that we have, because we're about to get into the meat and potatoes of who you are and, how your mind works. So Don't be afraid. We're gonna take care of you. So we like to kick off the show with a game called First Deal, Last Deal. Okay. So give the audience kind of a brief overview and maybe some of the details of the first deal you've ever done, and then fast forward till present day and maybe the last deal you've done, so we can kind of compare the two.
Yeah, sure. So back in fall of 2016, we were doing direct mail marketing. Me and this guy, John, we were partnered up, and we were doing direct mail marketing. We were sending out these mailers to property owners and targeting like vacant properties, worn down properties, stuff like that, right? And it got some traction and took some calls and whatnot, working on our sales skills. But our objective was to get a property, get it under contract, and flip it to some buyers that we had, make the difference, right? Well, we had this one property that we finally got under contract for $15,000. So yes, cheap, not the best part of town. And we flipped it to this guy for $18,000. So we made $3,000, me and this guy, John.
Big payday.
John was probably 30 or early 30s at this point, and I was like early 20s or something like that. So at the end of the day, it wasn't much money by any means on the time we put into it, but it showed that it worked. So we essentially broke even on our marketing cost, not our time, but our marketing cost. And then the deal right after that, and I know you said last deal, but I'll tell you the deal right after that because it's about pushing through and consistency and persistence. We had maybe another house in between, but by January, we closed this deal, and we started that maybe in the fall of 2016, right? Closed that house maybe in like October or November. And then we had this 9-unit apartment complex close to downtown Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where I'm at. And we bought it for 90-something thousand. So 9-unit for 90,000. It was bringing in like $3,500 a month at the time. So great deal. Not the best part of town. Needs some work. That property in spring of like 2022 or something sold for $800,000. And I'm sure they did some work and stuff, but it's just crazy, like almost a 10x. Well, we wholesaled it for $145,000. I'm a sophomore in college, and I get a check for my portion, which was $26,000, half of $52,000. And I'm like, what am I doing in class? Right? I was in like
this is a waste of time.
Real estate. But that really opened my eyes that this stuff works if you're consistent with it. And maybe people don't start with wholesaling or flipping, maybe they get into rentals, but it's like it all works if you stay consistent and work at it. And that's what helped open my mind and my eyes, right? Now, that was first deal. So last deal I did. So you're asking me the last real estate
most
deal.
recent.
Okay. So we bought a mobile home park from a reasonably prominent family around town, which is really, really cool. And the reason I say that is because they're a multi-generation family around here, and they've owned this park. And we had this big group we were competing against and some other people. And it really comes down to relationships. And this might not have been the most recent, maybe second most recent, but I really like this one because it's about relationships and whatnot. And the other one I had was apartment complex we flipped that was a referral, but I really, really like this one. So I'm going to go on this deal here.
Yeah, please.
This mobile home park wasn't anything crazy big, maybe 50 units. My buddy's a big mobile home park operator and owner and trust him a lot. And I basically bird dog him a deal. I get an equity stake or he'll pay me or a hybrid of the two. So it's a good setup and he plugs into his big system. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't manage any of that specifically with mobile home parks. But he had said, hey, find me something else. Well, I was calling some mobile home park people. Got a hold of these people like a year before we ended up getting a contract. And then coming up on a couple months before we got a contract, they finally, they would ignore my emails. They would email back, be a little rude, be a little cold. And I get it. They're just blown up all the time. They're good people. Well, they ended up coming to reach out to us to say, hey, we're taking offers now. Like they had a family member that had passed on. So like, hey, we're ready to consider selling. Went back and forth. And they ended up seller financing the deal to us, right? As we went back and forth and we beat out this bigger group. Now, what they liked about us is we were local, we were straight, we were honest with them. And that allowed us to be able to build a relationship with them. And we did exactly what we would say we did, right? So at this point, we've owned the deal over a year, right? And we haven't bought much real estate in the past year, kind of worked on our portfolio and whatnot of what we have. But that deal's doing great. We're making our payment each month. We put a good chunk down to them up front. We'll refinance them out in a few years. And it's just been a great overall, property and portfolio that we've been building up over time. And that's just basically what I'm saying, Mike, is relationship based. That's been my biggest success with talking to people, and then making sure you follow up. You're doing what you're saying. And at the end of the day, it's all about just building an authentic relationship with the people, right?
So if I can let you know what I'm hearing about that deal, it sounds like you attribute you landing it and being awarded the deal, the fact that you cultivated a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That we cultivated a relationship with them. We were honest and straightforward with them. And they also like that we're local because they've been local for a long time. And we paid a really strong price, I have to tell you. But Peter has a good system, good management, so it's going to work over the long haul. And that's the guy who I bought it with, and I just have a small equity stake in it for bringing the deal to him and working it out with him. But at the end of the day, it's been great. And the best properties we have and stuff around here, especially being a little bit hotter of a market, it's just from building relationships, man.
Awesome. All right, Harper. Well, thank you for running us through that. Now, our next question here, we don't like to use the word failure, but describe one, let's say, breakdown or unmet expectation or goal that maybe you fell short from, but you took a lesson away.
Okay, so we reword the question. So a goal that I fell short from or learned a lesson from.
Yes.
I've had a few partnerships that haven't worked out, and over the years, I think that's been something I've struggled to learn a lesson with. I think it's great to have partners and people you can rely on. I'm not saying don't do that, but if I were to do it over, I think I would at least have partnered deal by deal versus trying to get into an actual business with someone, me personally, and keep a little bit more of the freedom and autonomy, because some people have strengths, some people have weaknesses, and have built some sort of a portfolio on my own instead of just partners. Everything I have now, I have partners in some form or fashion, not investors, but partners, and it's been great, and I don't have any upsets or regrets about that. But I think if I would have built some properties on my own over the years and not partnered up directly with people and just stuff deal by deal, that's something I would have preferred to do. And I think if you would ask some previous guys I partnered with, they would say stuff similar. But I don't want to speak for them. So that's something where I feel like going back in time, I would do it more deal by deal instead of like actually getting into a business together. And that's just me kind of learning my personality over the years and what worked for me, right? And not that they hadn't brought value, because they totally have. It just comes down to, I want them happy and a lot of value added as well. And I don't feel like I'm in my prime when I feel like tied to something specifically, right?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Now, let me ask you, throughout your investing career, was there any type of shift or change that you made with your approach, aside from maybe partnerships, but any type of shift that you implemented to grow your business to its current level?
Yeah, sure. So once again, Mike, I do stuff in the infinite banking world, the company's life of leverage, in the real estate world. They're under different LLCs and things of that nature. But I guess with both those and growing them, I've really tried to focus more on organic relationships and cold calling. I'm more referral and organic with infinite banking, and I'm starting a YouTube channel and some of that stuff that's helped with growing. But I'm trying to keep it more smaller and organic and referral based. Real estate, I do have referrals and whatnot, but overall, I'll cold call for a lot of my deals. But what is cold calling? You're ultimately trying to build a relationship with someone so they trust and they like you. And when you build that relationship, you can start buying some of their portfolio, all their
Hmm.
portfolio, or a deal they have, right? So I like the sniper approach, I call it, versus the shotgun approach.
Hmm.
And I try to get really good organized data that my assistant puts in or a virtual employee. And then I will pick up the phone and call on very specific properties and then keep trying to get a hold of them and building rapport. I haven't done as much of that recently because, like I said, I've been working more in the infinite banking world, getting all that stuff established. But when I am focusing on finding deals and working in the real estate world, it is cold calling primarily is the way I go. And I really try to research the property and even the person before I
Hmm.
call, make it very, very personalized. And it takes a lot more time, but I find a lot more success in getting quality properties in locations that are tough to get at a decent price, or maybe they're open to financing.
Right. So it sounds like through all that, really your main focus is on developing relationships is at the center of it.
Yeah,
That's what
correct.
I'm getting.
Yeah, correct. That's my main focus. Obviously, you're going to have processes and other things to follow, but at the end of the day, you can't get anything done without having a relationship with someone for the most part.
Yeah, great advice. Uh, so Harper, give our audience one mindset, habit, practice, tip, or trick that you use to achieve your success.
Sure, I try to surround myself with people that are doing very well financially in the field I'm in or outside the field. And so I'm definitely not the highest income earner by far. I have people that are much more successful with their health and other relationships and stuff. So it helps me elevate towards that overall and the average of all that. So I'm very strict on who my inner circle of people is and who I'm around. And I try to forcefully be around people that are doing better than I am in different avenues of life to try to bring me up. You know what I'm saying? And kind of
Hmm.
forcefully pull me in that direction.
And is that through networking groups or is that through your personal friends and family?
More personal friends and family and just some work people that I'll get breakfast with or meet up with. But at the end of the day, that's just been built over the years, the relationships. And I would say a lot of my friend group are those people, right? And
Hmm.
I try to have that type of group close to me.
That's great. Thank you for that. Let me ask you, what messages did you receive maybe growing up from your family and friends that you feel may have contributed to your level of success now?
Yeah, sure. So my family wasn't in real estate and they were not in the insurance world or infinite banking world either. But they did give me a great childhood and taught me about hard work and good manners and didn't hand me stuff. And I did go to a private Christian middle school and high school, and I think that there were some advantages to that for sure. But I had a lot of friends get the new trucks, the new cars, a lot of nice things, and I'm not saying I didn't have nice things, have a great childhood, but I didn't get that new car, I didn't get the new this, and me being surrounded by that, not getting it, I think helped build a lot of character to move me
Hmm.
forward in life and work harder for things on my own, right?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. All right. Now, we're really going to get deep here. If
Okay.
abstract. So if money was a real person, in one sentence, describe your relationship with them.
If money was a real person, this is a good question, and maybe I should have prepared myself with these. So, okay, ask it one more time.
If money was a real person, in one sentence, describe your relationship with them. Is it loving? Is it love-hate? Is it treat them right? Is it...
Well, I see money. I see money simply as a tool for freedom, right? Like working, you're kind of stacking up freedom because money is allowing you to have time freedom and freedom with other things in life. So I would maybe describe the person as a gateway to helping you become more free yourself. Maybe something like that. But
Cool.
I wouldn't say I obsess over the person or cling to it, but it's just money itself is more of a tool that you use to provide freedom, right? It can be used for other things, but I think that's the main reason people are working for capital is for freedom to choose what they want to do each day and with who.
Yeah. It sounds like you have maybe feel some level of responsibility towards money to treat it right.
Yeah, you definitely need to be a good steward of it. And even when I first started making decent money back in 2016, 17, 18, I was spending a lot of it because I'd never had that type of money before. So you learn over time, right? So you got
Yeah.
to save your money.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. One more question. Actually, two more questions.
Okay.
If there was anything you had to do differently starting out, what would it be? Maybe it goes back to the partnership question.
I wouldn't say I would change the partnerships per se because I learned so much and how to go about it at an early age. But what I would do is I would have kept one avenue and focus. So, like, say it's wholesaling. I would have stuck to that and really grew a business out of it and try to scale that up. And what we did is we did wholesaling, then we self-managed, then we bought rentals and raised investor capital, years ago. Worked, we made some money, but I think we would have stayed focused with one thing, would have been better. And then maybe added something on after the fact. So, like, maybe I would have focused with the wholesaling. Or if we're buying rentals, focus with that. Right? Or whatever strategy is, keep it simple, focus and grow from there, right? Hence why last year I leaned into infinite banking because I'm getting more processes and stuff lined up there. Now I'm going to take a step back. Of course, still be doing that, but it's going to take less of my time, and I'm just meeting with good quality people, and then I'll have a good system in place because I took the time to build it. And now when I start cold calling, getting to real estate again and buying stuff, that's going to, I'm not going to feel like I'm half-assing both of them. So
Right. You're saying put everything you got into one thing and kind of perfect that in a way. Get
that going, get it pumping, and then maybe not pivot, but you could add another arm or something.
Add another. Yeah, awesome. All right, Harper, our final question. We made it to the end. Do you have one book recommendation for our listeners, maybe that has to do with business or mindset or personal development or real estate or infinite banking?
Actually, one of my buddies wrote a book. It's called Find Your Financial Freedom. The author's Logan Rankin. And I've read that a time or two in the past year or two. And it's just very simply put, also goes into details. But he's a very successful self-made real estate investor. And he has an awesome YouTube channel diving into stuff as well. Once again, Logan Rankin. So I definitely check that book out. There's tons of great books. But, knowing the guy too, and then reading the book, it's like you just know he's true.
It makes it cool. Yeah.
And he didn't write the book to make money, so he wrote to add value.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Harper. Well, that does it for my line of questioning. I guess how can our audience get a hold of you if they want more information on infinite banking, how they can work with you, or maybe find out more?
Yeah, sure. So you could go to lifewithleverage.com and you could get a hold of me, book a call, and then on the About Us page, you have all my information. You got a contact page, and reach out. We could chat about real estate if you'd like, but primarily, I'm setting up calls for infinite banking, help people out, And if you're someone who does real estate or anything around Knoxville, also love to connect. Let me know. We typically invest within about 2 hours from here. And anyone who knows any mobile home parks or anything like that, we'll go pretty far out if it's big enough size. So
Awesome. Harper Jones, it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience, and we'll talk to you soon.
definitely. Thanks, Mike.
All right.